Hello, I am Glitchin, and welcome to the first official episode of Deck Check, the ongoing video series where I let my viewers crawl through the copious amounts of cardboard that I own. Today we'll be doing Tistina, a deck that I don't think anyone is clamoring for me to cover, but it is a $30 deck for the core, and then it's staples shaped around it that you probably have. So it's very funny to rock up with 3 other people all playing Tistina. So let's get right into the $30 Tistina core. 3 Fallen of the Tistina. Fallen of the Tistina, very simple, allows you to send it from hand to grave in order to activate Divine Domain Ba Tistina directly from deck. Also, if a face-up Tistina spell trap is destroyed by your opponent's card, you can banish this card from the graveyard in order to special summon a light Tistina from your deck. Good stuff. 3 Return of the Tistina. Return of the Tistina allows you to target a Tistina monster on your field, special summon Returned, and Returned's level becomes the same level as the targeted monster. This makes our Xyz plays a little bit easier. Also, if it's in the graveyard, you can target a Water Xyz you control and attach this card to it as material. 3 Sentinel. Sentinel is our searcher for the deck. Sentinel allows you to target a Tistina card or a face-down card you control and destroy it in order to search a Tistina card. So if you have a light Tistina monster on the field, you can special summon it from the graveyard. Next up, we have 1 Hound of the Tistina. Hound of the Tistina allows Tistina monsters to attack directly if your opponent has a face-down monster on their field. Also, like Sentinel, allows you to special summon it from the graveyard if you have a light Tistina card. We have 1 Tainted of the Tistina. Tainted of the Tistina allows you to normal summon it on top of a face-down monster on your opponent's field. But the effect we really care about is when it is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Tistina monster you control, and it gets a second attack during the battle phase this turn. Good stuff, since we are an OTK deck. 2 Demigod. 3 Demigod. Forgot that last one. Demigod of the Tistina allows you to special summon it and grab a Tistina spell trap from your deck if you control a Tistina monster. Also, if you have Crystal God on the field during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can flip all of your opponent's monsters face down, then send all of their face-up cards into the graveyard. Speaking of Crystal God, we have Crystal God Tistina. Crystal God Tistina allows you to flip all of your opponent's monsters face down and send all of their face-up cards from the field to the graveyard. And if it's destroyed, you get to do the same thing. Flip them face down, send all face ups. This has no native way to special summon it, so you are pretty reliant on other ways of getting it onto the field. The best way to do that is with 3 copies of Divine Domain Ba Tistina. Divine Domain Ba Tistina. You could probably get away with running 2, since we have 3 copies of Fallen that also searches it out, but I'll run 3. Anywho, it allows you to send a Tistina monster from deck to grave, and then if your opponent controls 3 or more face-up cards, you can special summon a Crystal God Tistina from deck. Also, if this card is destroyed in your field spell zone by opponent's card effect, you can special summon a Tistina monster from deck or graveyard. Pretty good. It allows us to send stuff to the grave, always good, and it allows us to special summon out our boss monster if our opponent has the appropriate number of face-up cards. 3 Breath of the Tistina. Breath of the Tistina is our continuous spell card. It gives us an additional normal summon. Also, you can flip 1 monster on the field face down in order to search a Tistina card. If you control a light Tistina, it can be your opponent's monster, but most of the time you're searching out something to get you to a light Tistina, so you'll probably just be flipping your own monsters face down for the search. 2 Play of the Tistina. Play of the Tistina, very simple, allows you to special summon a Tistina from hand or grave, but it gets returned to your hand during the end phase. This is just a special summon enabler if you're a little bricked or need to combo a little bit further. It's a good extender. We have 1 Discordance of the Tistina. Discordance of the Tistina, if you control a Tistina monster, target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it face down. And if you have a Tistina monster special summon from the extra deck, you can banish your entire opponent's graveyard face down. You have 1 Embrace of the Tistina. Embrace of the Tistina, when your opponent activates a monster effect, allows you to flip that sucker into face-down defense position. And then, if your opponent has a face-down monster during their end phase, you can target 1 of them and take control of it. You can only activate either of these if you have a Tistina monster with 3,000 or more defense on your field. Again, kind of all over the place with the effect, caring about extra deck Tistinas and also 3,000 defense Tistinas, rather than the light Tistinas, which would make more sense. One, Signs of the Tistina. Signs of the Tistina allows you to target one monster on opponent's field. Special summon this card is a 0 attack, 0 defense, level 10 Aqua monster with the light attribute, I forgot to mention. And then if this card leaves the field, destroy that opponent's monster. And if that opponent's monster leaves the field, destroy this card. It's another way to get a light Tistina onto the field. And also a conditional interrupt. Alright, next up for our staples, we have 3 Ash Blossom. This can really be any hand trap you want. Ash, L, Droll. It's whatever. I like to run at least a playset of... Alright, next up for the staples, we have 3 Ash. This can really be any hand trap. I just like running a hand trap in a deck when there's room. Next we have 3 Gen. Gen and 1 Ken, by the way. They both contribute to our field spell. Since they allow us to normal summon one of them, special summon the other to our opponent's field, it makes it easier for us to have our opponent have 3 face-up cards on their field. Also, we don't really use our normal summon, so normal summoning again to get Ken to draw 2, discard 1 is a pretty good effect. Especially since summoning it to our opponent's field and then activates a mandatory effect which triggers Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent, when our opponent activates a monster effect during our main phase, we either draw 2 or take control of one of our opponent's monsters till the end phase, or look at our opponent's hand and shuffle 1 card from it into the deck. All good effects, especially when we can proc them without our opponent actually having to do anything. Next we have 3 Book of Eclipse. Book of Eclipse flips all monsters on the field into face-down defense position, and then our opponent's monsters are flipped face-up during the end phase, and they draw a card for each. Hopefully, we never get to our end phase and we just kill our opponent in the battle phase. This essentially acts as a board wipe for the deck. Since it flips everything face down, they can't activate their effects. And since Hound allows us to attack directly if they have a face-down defense position monster, we don't even have to run them over in battle. We also have 1 Full Armored Xyz. Full Armored Xyz, we're running the Full Armored Xyz engine. I just said Full Armored Xyz way too many times, but it allows us to Xyz summon using monsters we control. Whoa, crazy. Also, banish it from the grave to equip an Xyz monster from our field or grave onto a Xyz monster on our field. On its own, bit of a weird effect, but in conjunction with the Xyz Armor Engine is actually very, very good. Starting out the extra deck, we'll go with our generic links. First off, we have 1 Nightmare Phoenix, requiring 2 monsters with different names. On summon, allows you to discard a card, target a spell trap card on the field, and destroy it. Just good removal. 1 IP Masquerena. IP Masquerena, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can link summon using cards you control. This is good to proc into our Nightmares, or our next card, SP Little Knights. A very expensive card. Most of this deck is cheap. The extra deck staples are a little pricey here and there. This is one of them. On summon, if it was summoned using a extra deck monster, you can target 1 card on the field or in either grave and banish it. Also, if your opponent activates an effect, you can banish 1 monster you control and another monster on the field. Could be yours, could be your opponent's. So it's a good way of dodging interaction or banishing an opponent's monster if they really need it to remain on the field. 1 Nightmare Unicorn. Nightmare Unicorn, much like Phoenix and Little Knight, on summon gets an effect. You can discard 1 card, target 1 card on the field, and just shuffle it back into the deck. Very good, very good. And then for our big OTK enabler, if we don't get a regular one, we have Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker on summon allows you to target a link monster used as material for it, and it gains 1,000 attack for the link rating of that monster. So if we use a unicorn, it would gain 3,000 defense. Also, it allows you to banish a link monster from grave or field, and then destroy 1 card on your opponent's field. Non-targeting, also your opponent can't respond to these effects. Very good. And you can't banish the same attribute for this effect for the rest of the turn. Then, of course, we have 2 Tistina, the divinity that defies darkness. Blah, 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 blah. On summon, allows you to send all your opponent's face-down cards from the field to the graveyard. Whoa, that's crazy. When combined with Crystal God, you flip everything to face down, send everything face up to the grave, then this will send everything face down to the grave. a kind of convoluted board wipe. But if this has Crystal God as material, you can detach a material from it, and it gains 2,000 attack until end of turn, making it 4,000 attack. You might see the puzzle pieces sliding into place: a 4,000 attack beater, a empty board, and a card that allows it to attack twice. But we'll get there. We have one Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon, Gustav Max. Gustav Max, another rank 10 Xyz. Very simple, detached material. Your opponent takes 2,000 damage. And we have its partner in crime, Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon, Juggernaut Liba. Liba allows you to detach a material from it, and it gains 2,000 attack and defense forever. And it can attack your opponent's monsters equal to the number of materials on this card plus 1. So, if your opponent has an empty board, it's a very good way to OTK them. 1 Xyz Armor Torpedo. Torpedo is a level 3 monster. You can detach 2 materials from this card in order to draw 1 card. And if it is equipped to a monster and it battles until the end of the damage step, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. Also negate the effects of all face-up monsters they control. And if the equipped monster is an Xyz monster, your opponent cannot target this card for card effects. This is the baseline for the Xyz armor. It goes up, and they each rank up on top of each other. Next up is Armor Fortress. You can summon it on top of a 3 or 4 Xyz. And you can detach up to 2 materials, and then search that many Xyz cards from your main deck. Very good, very good. Next up, we have 1 copy of Full Armored Crystal Zero Lancer, a card you don't often see in the Xyz Armor engine, but it gives our big boss an additional material, and it's got a little some interesting effects of its own. You can also Xyz some of this on top of a ranked 5 Watcher Xyz, that is Fortress, and it gains 500 attack for each material attached to it. And if this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach material instead. And once turn, detach from material, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls until the end phase. Pretty good, pretty good. Basically just acts as a shut-off of all our opponent's monsters if we need it. But it can also just act as another material is put onto Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer. Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer, you can summon it on top of a 5 or 6 rank monster, and it gains 300 attack for each material and equipped card it has. Once per turn, you can target 1 Xyz card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. And once per turn, if a equipped card is equipped to this card, you can, non-targeting, attach one of your opponent's monsters to this card as Xyz material. Since the trap allows us to quick effect attach a Xyz monster from our graveyard or field to this card, we get to yoink one of our opponent's monsters into its Xyz material. And we have the 2 partners in crime, Typhon and Zeus. Zeus allows you to rank it up on top of an Xyz. If an Xyz monster has battled, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Xyz card that battled. And you can detach 2 materials from it and send all other cards on the field to the graveyard. Very simple. Pretty much an auto-include in every Xyz deck. And we have Typhon. Typhon, very simple. If your opponent has summoned 2 or more extract monsters this turn or the previous turn, you can special summon this on top of your monster with the most attack points. But that is your last summon for the turn. And while on the field, neither player can activate the effects of monsters with 3,000 or more attack. This doesn't really hinder us, but can really hinder our opponent if they, say, go into a really big monster like Zeus or another card like Apo, if they want to get a whole bunch of negates off on us. All right, let me show you what an ideal OTK combo looks like. We want these 4 cards in our hand. Nothing else really matters. This can also be a Ken, but ideally you get Gen, because then you get to draw some extra cards. So we will normal summon Gen, special summon Ken to our opponent's field. We will draw 2, discard 1. Doesn't really matter, so I'll just leave those blank. We'll go Fall into Tistina, grab our field spell. Boop. We go Breath of Tistina, get our additional normal summon. Breath of Tistina, flip this face down to search a Tistina card. We will search our copy of Crystal God. Sentinel, destroy the again in order to search our copy of Demigod. Demigod, special summon it itself, search our copy of Play. Play, special summon our copy of Crystal God. We will flip all of our opponent's stuff into face down defense, then send all of their face up cards on the field to the grave. And then we will Xyz summon into Tistina, the deity that defies darkness. This will send all their face down cards to the graveyard. Whoa, crazy. Tistina, we will send our Tainted. Assuming we didn't draw it in one of those 2 blank cards. Yep, there it is. Tainted. Allowing it to attacks. Then we will attach a material, allowing it to gain 2,000 attack. Swing for 4,000. Swing for 4,000. Pretty good. We go an actual test hand in order to show a more complicated version of what the deck is hoping to accomplish. We will draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to assume we're going second. Our opponent has like 2 cards on their field. So we don't automatically get the Divine Domain Tistina effect. Draw for turn since we're going second. We'll assume we Ash Blossom the opposing player at some point. Leaving us with these cards in hand. Interesting. We'll go with Divine Domain Tistina, just so we have a Tistina card in order to special summon Demigod. Demigod search Breath. Get Breath. Additional normal summon of Returned. Flip Returned. Get Sentinel. Normal summon Sentinel. Destroy this. Grab us our copy. Well, we already have play, so we can get God. Crystal God. Play. Special Crystal God. Flip everything into defense. Go into this. Go into Tainted. Honestly, not horrible. Hope this hand goes a little bit more awry. I want to show what happens if we don't get the OTK off. So don't go too bad. Don't go too bad. 1. Okay, 10. Okay, that's already pretty bad. 3. Oh, okay. 5. Okay. Draw because we're going second. Okay. That definitely hurt me. Get Gen. Special Ken. Come on. Alright, mandatory effect forcing us to draw 2, discard 1, 1, 2. Ooh. We don't need the traps. What we do need is more cards, so we'll tactics draw 2. Okay, drawing Fallen and the field spell, not great, but we work with what we got. Throw up our field spell. What else can we even do? Breath, flip this, grab Sentinel. Extra normal Sentinel, destroy this. Search God. We want to search God. Demigod. Yeah, search Demigod. Actually, no, let's not search Demigod. Let's search Returned. Go Returned, target this, special summon it. They both become level 3. Go into Armor Torpedo, draw a card, attaching 2. Flip them into Armored Fortress. Attach 1, grab our Full Armor Dixie's Trap. Into Crystal 0. We'll just set this for the sake of time. What else can we even do with this hand? Not really anything else. I mean, we can't send one thing to grave. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that we will have a way to get Crystal God onto the field because our opponent has 3 or more monsters. We can even return, detach onto here. Why not? Got a plentiful hand of cards and no way to use them. If we summon this in attack, actually, we can go summon from hand. It can hand, summon from hand. Go Hound, flip this to defense. We can swing over it. Honestly, we can go Embrace. That allows us to flip our opponent's monsters and steal them. Honestly, not a horrible end board. We flip this into a copy of Dark Knight Lancer. This will allow us to equip a torpedo at quick effect speed. This will yoink an opponent's monster and attach it as Xyz material. So I hope you can see that. There we go. All in all, not horrible. Well, I hope you liked the video, especially since it is technically, kind of not really, the first in a series of deck check. I'll be going and retroactively changing all of my old deck list videos to be labeled Deck Check from now on, and look forward to seeing some non-Yu-Gi-Oh card games, such as Magic and maybe Digimon, if I'm really scraping a little bit. So I'll see you then. Thanks. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I think I've spieled long enough.